Just a few days before the conclave, several cardinals are raising some alarming red flags. They're talking about critical circumstances, real dangers, even the possibility of a schism. This isn't just gossip. This is coming directly from those involved. What's really going on behind the Vatican walls? The concerns are growing more serious every day. In this analysis, we'll uncover what many are afraid to say publicly. 2 days before the cardinals enter the Sistine Chapel, Rome isn't just experiencing the typical calm before a major church event, like before a big national soccer game. Rather, there's a thick, almost magnetic atmosphere, like the one before a big snowstorm. A feeling of watchful waiting permeates the Vatican palaces, as the general congregations continue far from the world's eyes, but certainly not with general indifference. The conclave of May 7th, anticipated as one of the most unpredictable in modern times, is taking place in an atmosphere filled with tension, distrust, maneuvering, and calls to prayer. The now palpable fear is that this is not just about numbers or ceremonies. This time what's at stake is faithfulness to Catholic truth. Those paying attention have already caught Cardinal Raymond Leo Burke's subtle but clear message. He stressed how serious the situation is without going into specific details. But what goes unsaid speaks volumes, especially since there's freedom of expression in the general congregations, unlike the conclave where everything is kept totally secret, like an open secret. And it's in these preliminary meetings, which almost seem like a modern Council of Nicaea, that we see signs of tension, filtered statements, whispers of conflicting groups, attempts to influence decisions through ideological reasoning, rather than spiritual discernment, almost like a modern Machiavelli in cardinal's robes. When someone like Burke, known for his clarity, loyalty to teachings, and personal integrity, speaks seriously, ignoring him would be like turning a deaf ear. He's a man who doesn't mince words, a true modern-day St. Thomas Aquinas. He asked for something special, to increase prayers, to extend the novena past the planned end until the new pope is chosen. An unprecedented event, almost like asking for the blessing of Padre Pio himself. And the fact that he is the one proposing it, being one of the few cardinals who can still speak as true successors of the apostles instead of just church officials, is an important sign. On the other hand, Cardinal Walter Kasper has expressed his opinion. Of German origin, 90 years old, he is excluded from the conclave because of age limits, but his opinions still carry some weight. In an interview with Dom Radio, he clearly expressed his wish that the next pope continue on the path laid out by Pope Francis. He didn't mention doctrine, tradition, or missionary work. He emphasized the importance of open doors, a renewed atmosphere, and an evolution in style. Basically, not just a successor to Peter, but a human and ideological continuation of the previous pope. And there's more. Kasper predicted that this conclave might last longer than the others. The reason? The cardinals don't know each other very well. Like, they're not exactly best buddies. And he adds with disarming honesty that an organized group with a third of the votes could block the election, forcing everyone to start from scratch, like a card game interrupted at its most exciting point. Statements that sound more like a confession than an analysis, almost a full-blown "my bad." It's precisely the scenario that many fear, a real nightmare. A conclave held hostage by alliances, calculations, and strategies, a sort of Vatican power struggle. This wouldn't be a completely new thing. Kasper, as keen observers well know, was part of the so-called St. Gallen Group, an informal group of progressive cardinals that between 1995 and 2006 met in Switzerland with the specific goal of preventing the election of Ratzinger and supporting someone with a profile similar to that of Jorge Mario Bergoglio. We're not talking about conspiracy theories, but facts confirmed by the protagonists themselves. Cardinal Gerhard Müller has also broken his silence with a clear and insightful analysis, as the former prefect of the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith. Unlike Kasper, Müller will participate in the conclave for the first time, bringing a clear and deeply ecclesial perspective of the papacy. He stated this without ambiguity in his homily in Rome on the eve. The cardinals shouldn't choose someone who simply carries on the ideas of a deceased pope, but a true successor of Peter. This statement strongly contrasts with the prevailing narrative that wants to turn the conclave into a kind of administrative election based on popularity, nationality, or the candidate's media charisma, almost as if it were a Vatican popularity contest. Müller firmly rejects this perspective. The Church isn't just some non-profit, and the Pope isn't a social media influencer. The Bishop of Rome, he emphasized, is the visible symbol and foundation of the Church's unity in revealed truth. He criticized the superficial criteria, which he himself called absurd, that suggest the need for an African pope, Italian, or someone popular in the media. Muller emphasizes the central question: who is ready to strengthen the brothers in faith, just as Christ commanded Peter? Who is able to protect doctrine as a priceless treasure, rather than treating it like a public opinion poll? And it doesn't end there. The cardinal emphasized that every pope sits on the chair of Peter, not on the chair of Francis or Benedict. A stern warning, perhaps the strongest heard so far. The Church doesn't need a continuation of the previous pontificate, but a leader capable of continuing the apostolic mission without compromise, ideologies, or earthly weaknesses. These days the Vatican is shrouded in a surreal silence, and it's not just the official statements that are causing concern. To further complicate the situation, prophecies, warnings, and apocalyptic scenarios are resurfacing that have long circulated on the fringes of the Church, and which today take on a new relevance, almost like an echo of the prophecies of Saint Malachi. Among all of these, the tangible risk of a schism stands out. Luis Eduardo Lopez Padilla, an expert on Marian revelations, warns that this conclave could cause a permanent split. 2 popes, 2 churches, and unprecedented church tragedy. His words are neither accidental nor isolated. His theories are based on interpreting prophetic messages, especially those connected to Fatima and Garabandal. These messages seem incredibly relevant now, considering what's happening today. This idea isn't far-fetched at all. Cardinal Muller has repeatedly warned against the risk of a schism. He emphasizes a process of polarization in the Church that, from ideological, has become structural, almost like a new edition of the East-West schism. In recent interviews, he clearly mentioned the danger that a part of the hierarchy is creating a new church with a new faith, a new catechism, and new morals, a bit like in Luther's time. Warning that a pope who promotes such a change could shatter Catholic unity from its foundations. In that case, hidden tensions could surface, causing a church crisis unlike anything seen in modern times. What do you think? If you liked this analysis, leave a comment with Amen. God bless you.